Hi folks, my name is Thibaut Van Dam and I am a DIY singer-songwriter and also guitar tutor based in Southeast London. Today I'm very excited to be back on my channel, and today in particular I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to play a song by a group called Mapache. I think that's how you say it anyway, and the song is called Morning Light. And I posted a short of this video of this song and people liked it, and I liked it actually too, and some people requested the chords that I used, and I actually came up with the chords. I'm saying I came up with the chords. I obviously didn't write the song. I found the chords on Ultimate Guitar, so I'll include the link to the website that I used to find the chords. But when I was confronted with the chord shapes that they suggested, I basically opted to use different voicings based on use case. So someone specifically had asked me about, and actually I can see their comment now, Owen Brands 2023. Anything would help a ton. And then someone else, someone else also called Owen Lee Brands, they commented and said, "You killed it, would love to learn this version. Can you point me to where you got the chords?" So I'll include the link, of course, if you want to see the chords that I was using. But I think if you're thinking about the version of the chords, then I thought I could do a tutorial explaining why I chose the voicings I did. So thank you, Owen. I'm assuming your name is Owen. Thank you for requesting the song. And we can go ahead and get started. If this sounds interesting to you, please definitely consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It is the best way to stay in the loop. And of course, it motivates me to come back to the channel, make new content like this. Thank you for commenting, actually, because it drew my attention to the song and maybe making a tutorial. And I always do this kind of thing. I'm always trying to innovate and come up with the next way that I'm going to play a thing that sounds most accurate to the song. So thank you to everyone that does like the videos and subscribes and comments. It really does mean a lot. It's why I'm here right now. And let's go ahead and get started. The way that I'm going to do this, there are going to be timestamps if you want to skip around. I'm going to start by basically explaining what the chords are and what the shapes are and how to actually play them. And then I'm going to talk about the chords found in the verse and the chorus and kind of that place in between, and that kind of fancy, I guess, picking part. And then if I have time, I'm going to try to do a song analysis, try to make sense of why the chords were chosen and how they better explain the narrative. And I think it's important to consider music theory, kind of practical music theory, as well as experiential and informal learning in music. A lot of people, I think in modernity, there's a lot of pressure for people to not know theory and just somehow intuit good music. But realistically, if you are familiar with music theory, you can do nothing but enrich by exposing yourself to new ideas. You can enrich your practice. So it's kind of ironic, but for example, you couldn't informally write a song that sounded like jazz if you'd never heard it. And I think to that same end, you can't automatically choose to do or not do a specific chord progression if you don't actually know what chord progressions are. So, and I mean that in a technical way. So I think it's useful to know, and I have done a series about all the music theory you would need to know to understand this. So hopefully that's also interesting, but that's why I'm separating them with timestamps if you just want to kind of know how to play the song. So let's go ahead and start with step one, which is learn how to play the song. Learning to play the song involves learning the chords and kind of the strum pattern. A lot of the strum pattern is rhythmic, so I won't spend too much time there because that's something you essentially are going to try to move to if you can. And the chords we need to know to play this song include C sharp minor 7, E major, which on the website that I was looking at, Ultimate Guitar, they say this E, but I don't think that shape makes sense at the beginning in the intro / verse, let's say. I think this shaping makes more sense, so I'll explain how to play this in a moment. We need to know how to play B. Again, we have options on how to play the B. This is one way, and then A, but I think it makes more sense to do B. It sounds more airy and stuff. This is the voicing I chose in the video I did. That works really well, especially because the next two chords we need to play are G sharp minor 7, which are really close actually, very easy to play, and then F sharp minor 7. And that's our verse actually in a nutshell. In the morning light is where I see you best. Something to point out about the song, and I've just made the mistake of it, of course, is the rhythm. So the rhythm is important. You're going to change kind of every, I'm just going to, let me count it. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So for the first 4 chords, you're alternating every 2 beats. So in a bar, in a given bar, you'll switch over twice. You'll do 2 strums, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is the strum pattern and the rhythm and the chords for the verse. And that actually, for the verse, is repeated. So each line has that same phrase. So now let's just study those voices in particular. So I'll write down the chords. We have C sharp minor 7. We have E. I'm going to use the major 7, and specifically the voice of it. So, and then we're going to use B, again, that voice of it. A, G sharp minor 7, and then F sharp minor 7. Okay, so it's pretty manageable. I mean, it is like a bunch of chords. It's 6 chords. So we're looking at basically every single chord in the key, except for the diminished 7. So we've identified the key, just to say. Let's talk about these voices. So one of the things that's so beautiful and so amazing about guitar is that we have something called the cage system. There are these kind of basic chord shapes like E and A minor and A major and stuff, where you can actually transpose them using something called equal temperament. And this is possible on a piano as well and other modern Western musical instruments. But one thing that's really unique about the guitar is that it has something called the nut, this white bar you can see here, and I'll get closer if you want to have a closer look. That white bar means that you can actually transpose in a very kind of linear, consistent way. For example, what I mean by that is this is E major. This is F major. And I haven't changed anything about the shape or the voice, we could say. It's the same physical shape of chord, and then it's still a major chord. So this is one thing that I think is kind of interesting, is that you can actually transpose chord shapes without having to change the physical shape. And that's really, really, really useful. For example, on piano, E is like this, and then like C is like that. They're like different things physically. You have to know the different shapes to play different major chords. That's really annoying, actually. It's one of the things that makes piano kind of a pain. And on the other hand, you have the option of 10 fingers, 10 voicings. It's up to 10 levels of voice. And of course, you have the span of being able to play very low notes and quite high notes. So the result is you can play really complex things in a different way. But one of the other things that comes up is you can't transpose in the way you can on guitar. And to be honest, not to say I'm biased here because I obviously am, but you can play lower voices on the guitar too. For example, this voice has low notes and high notes, or again, same kind of concept. Very low note and a very high note. And that's possible. So, okay, that's an important idea involving equal temperament, cage chords, things like that. Using that knowledge of being able to transpose chord qualities like major chords up using bar chords, that's how we're going to do the majority of these chords here. So starting with C sharp minor 7. The voicing I'm using is an A minor shape barred on the 4th fret. So let's start by knowing what A minor is. It's the open A string, the 2nd fret on the D string, 2nd fret on the G string, the 1st fret on the B string, and then the open E. And we're going to voice it in the specific way where we use these 3 fingers so as to always keep our index finger free so we can bar. Then we're going to go ahead and make it a minor 7th chord by removing the octave, which is what our pinky's holding down. Now it's a minor 7, which makes it a minor 7th chord. Now we're going to employ the bar chord. So we have A minor, B flat minor, B minor, C minor, C sharp minor. There it is. C sharp minor 7 is our chord. So hopefully that makes sense. And what that looks like in practice is holding down the 4th fret with the bar, followed by the 6th, the 4th with your index again, the 5th with your middle, and then the 4th again with your index. So the bar plays a role in 3 spots. See that? So that's what we're looking for. I have done a video also about bar chords. So if you have a hard time with bar chords, check out that video. Let's go ahead and go to the next voicing. E major 7. Beautiful voicing. I think I've been listening to Explosions in the Sky recently. They definitely 100% use this at some point. And lots of people have used this. It sounds wonderful because it's open. So it's actually a very simple voice. We're going to take these 3 fingers. We're going to take our middle, index, and pinky. We're going to play the open E string, 7th fret with our middle finger, then the 6th fret with our index, and then the 8th fret with our pinky. And we're going to leave the B and E strings open. And that is a supplementary third. You can hear that. And a supplementary octave, or supplementary root. It just sounds really nice. Very nice and breezy. By having the open B and E strings, we actually lend ourselves to that continuation of a breeziness, which is then heard in the B major chord. The B major chord could be played in different ways, but the way I play it in that short is by holding down the 7th fret, then the 9th and 9th with, so 7th with the index, 9 with my ring, 9 with my pinky, and then 8 with my middle. Like that. And hopefully you can kind of see that. Yeah. So what this is based off of the E major shape. Again, another bar chord. This is B, that's E, the E major shape. So all we need to do is know our chromatic scale for this. Again, I made a video about it. So this is E, F major, F sharp major, G sharp major, A major, A sharp major, B major. That's our B. Except we're not doing the full bar, we're going to leave the top part open. I like this type of voicing especially because it means that I usually get better clarity with the lower strings, and then the top strings actually add more interesting qualities to the chord too. So it works in 2 ways, by enhancing the chord quality in terms of what you're hearing, like these open-ended notes, and also by letting you play the chord better, with better clarity, more control. And I usually opt to play bar chords like this when possible. Then we're going to go ahead, and the reason I chose this voice is because I could strum back down going to the A, right? We passed it on the way up. A sharp, B, B, A, and that's the 4th chord, A major. And that's all there is to it. This is a major chord because the shape was a major one, an E major shape. See, it looks like the E from down here. So this is major, so is this, just barred on A, which makes it an A chord. And then what's useful about these 2 voices is that it's this ending. And that is the feeling I got from the song, which is why I chose those voicings. So the next 2 chords are G sharp minor 7 and F sharp minor 7. They sound more complex than they are because of the sharp thing. Don't worry about it. All we need to do is know what a minor 7th chord is. So we can again do this using the E shape. This is E major. It's because it has a third here, the major third. If we lowered that though, it becomes minor. So E minor. Right? Now we want it to be a minor 7th chord. We're going to go ahead and remove our pinky. It's a very subtle difference. Many people don't notice when the minor 7th is being played, but you'll notice when it's missing in a way because it adds something to it. It is very decorative. It's usually ornamental. In jazz, it can be very important for being able to shift between one key and another, or to introduce chords outside the key. So to do kind of cool, weird stuff. But it's that difference. That's what it is. And so, just like we did before with the caged chords, we can actually physically move this shape up to the note G sharp to make it a G sharp minor 7. So this is E, F sharp, F minor 7, F sharp minor 7, we're going to need that later, G minor 7, F sharp minor 7, and there it is. It's really simple, and the way it actually looks in practice is 4th fret being held down by the index, followed by ring finger on the 6th fret, so 4 and 6, and then the rest of the strings are barred using the index all on 4. 4, 4, 4, 4. And then we're sliding that down a whole step to the F sharp minor 7, which is 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2. So let's stitch all this stuff together and go ahead and play it. So we have C sharp minor 7, E major 7, B, A, G sharp minor 7, F sharp minor 7. that is our verse. And in practice, we have the lines. In the morning light is where I see you best. In the dark I still see your head of hair. I'll be here as long as you'll still be there. Next part. E. And there's different ways of doing this, but this part is a bit fancy. We're going to have E major. This is still E, but now we're going to go to the B7. So this is a different voice of B7, and we're going to do it like this. We're going to play the second fret on A, so it's E, then we're going to go 2, 1, 2, 0, 2. Yeah, B7. E, which is 0, 2, 2, 1, 0, and hopefully you already know that. And there is a riff that happens here, so I want to tell you how to play it. Yep, just about. Something to the effect of, and you can basically improvise this as much as you want, but you're going to alternate between the major and the minor. Yep, that's basically it. And you can look at the picking a little bit, but basically you're going to be picking in a splay, like going up. And to get that hammer on, you're going to open the string up and get the sound of the major by hammering, not by plucking. That's important. So less is more. Again. Okay, moving on, the B7. There's that riff in between the two, right? All it is the E major scale. E, F sharp, G sharp, A. So 0, 2, 4, 0 on the A string, and then when you hit the B string, when you hit the note B, you are going to also play the chord, B7. That's important because it's meant to fit together in that way. So it's nice, it gives you that little moment to catch up. Great, let's go to the chorus. The chorus is pretty simple as well. Basically, we have E, the sea won't swallow us. You can do this in one of two ways. With the B7 we just learned, or this other B7, which is the barred B7. So this is another version of B, where it's A, B, right? So 0, 2, 2, 2, 0, then barred 2, 4, 4, 4, 2. And then what we're going to do is make it dominant. We're going to remove our ring finger. And that makes it have a minor seventh in a major chord, which is a dominant chord. So the sea won't swallow us. I rather like this voicing and this approach. I may not have done it in the song, the short that I've done, but I prefer this one in a way because it allows you to prepare for the bar shift. Whereas if you do this, the sea won't swallow us, you have a lot more to move. You have to move quite a distance in order to achieve that. So it's nice to break it up and have a middle point. So sea won't swallow us. And the chord and the notes that the fingers I'm using to fret that include using my index, of course, as always for the bar, followed by ring. So 2, 4 with the ring, and then 2 with the index again, and then 4 with the pinky, and then 2 with the index, like that. And then what happens is I slide that whole thing up a whole step, 2 frets, and I remove the pinky and I replace it with my middle finger to play the minor instead. So instead of 4, 6, 4, 6, it's 4, 6, 4, 5, which is the minor, right? Because major, minor. So the sea won't swallow us. And then we're going to go to the A. You can do this in different ways. I don't think it makes a huge difference, but you can go to the bar. Lay by the shore and sleep. That's quite nice. So I'm going to recommend that. We're going to go ahead and do the A and the B that we saw before earlier that are open. 5, 7, 7, 6, open, open. And then 7, 9, 9, 8, open, open. The sea won't swallow us. Lay by the shore and sleep. It's nice to go and satisfying to go back down to that E. sleep. The morning, and we stay on that E. The morning light feels fine. And it's nice to go to that B7 also to let us go back to the F sharp minor 7, where we do it that time. When we're fast, because we have to go to the G sharp minor 7, fast asleep. And it just makes sense. It makes sense to use that voice to go to this A. And then that's it. That's our chorus. So I'll play it through one last time. The sea won't swallow us. Lay by the shore and sleep. The morning light feels fine, and we're fast asleep. To the verse again. And that is actually also the solo part and the verse when it comes back. I think there might even be a bridge, but maybe not actually. So that's it for the song tutorial. I hope that all makes sense. It's a beautiful song. My recommendation is to think actively about what chord shapes suit you best. For me, those are the ones that work best for me, but there are a lot of options. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and then I'll go ahead and switch gears, put on my analysis hat, and we can go ahead and analyze this song a little bit. So the analysis process is pretty straightforward, but I think it's useful to consider why this song works and why it's effective. So I'll be thinking about the German school of thought. And so let's go ahead and get started. Starting from 12, let's start with, we already learned the song. We wrote down the chords, right? These are the chords: C sharp minor, E major, B, A, G sharp minor, F sharp minor 7. Great. Let's go ahead and do our circle of fifths. Starting from 12 o'clock, like a clock, I'm going to go clockwise and say C for Caroline, then G gets drunk, A and E eats, B butter, F sharp, which tastes flies. Caroline gets drunk and eats butterflies, which tastes bitter or sharp. That's what that looks like in practice. I try to space that out quite a bit. Don't forget the sharp here. It's important. We're going to go back to 11. I'm going to say F, F for flat. God. F for flat. And then we're going to go clockwise. I'm going to say bead. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. That's why we say flat. This is my idea. This is my contribution. I never heard anyone else say it. Maybe someone else came up with it. I think it's a good one. We say F for flat. We go flat, bead, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. And that is your circle of fifths. If you are not familiar, the circle of fifths is a tool designed to show you every note you can play in the chromatic scale, and as they relate to each other, as separated by either a fifth going clockwise or a fourth going counterclockwise. It is super useful because it can show us key signatures. It can show us how many sharps or flats are in each key. And it can show us also relative minors, and it's incredibly useful. It's very powerful, actually. And a lot of interesting music is written with this symbol in mind. Next step. The next step, I don't know which step it is, but the next step is to associate the chords. So we're going to look for 3 major chords. This is how we identify a major key on the circle of fifths, by noticing 3 major chords that were in the song that appear right next to each other, adjacent. So in this case, we saw E major, we saw A major, and B. So it's actually pretty simple. E, A, and B. So in this case, when we circle the 3 major chords, the one in the middle is the 1, the first chord, which usually tells you the key they're in, E major, which would make sense in my opinion. Then the one to the right of that, going clockwise, is the 5, which is B. Then going counterclockwise is the 4, which is the A. And there we have it. That's our key. We're definitely in the key of E. And this includes our relative minors. So let's solve for the relative minors. The relative minor of A is F sharp minor. The relative minor of E is C sharp minor. The relative minor of B is G sharp minor. And we happen to see all those chords in the song as well. So this is particularly useful. So this is what we're working with. Now, using our knowledge of the scale, let's go ahead and do the key according to the Roman numerals. E, it's worth pointing out this is alphabetized. So we're going to have E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and E. This is how I like to do it. I always just do it without the sharps or flats. I just do, starting from the tonal center, E in this case, just writing the alphabet up to G, at which point I go back to A, because that's the chromatic alphabet. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. That's it. You can just start there. Then just look for the sharps. So you have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and then technically D sharp as well. But we don't see that, so I won't worry about it so much. We also have the Roman numeral formula. This is the formula of the harmonized major key. This was incredibly difficult to procure. It's like the belly of the beast to learn this. But it basically follows the formula: major 1, minor 2, minor 3, major 4, major 5, minor 6, diminished 7, major 1 again. These are the associated chords in Roman numerals. Why are we doing this? We're doing this so we can abstract the song away from the chords themselves, E, F sharp, etc., so we can get Roman numerals. We're doing Roman numerals so we can study this according to the Roman numeral school of thought, specifically the German school of thought of functional theory, which suggests that the 1 and the 6, the 1 and the minor 6 are related as home, counterparts of home. Major home, minor home. Happy home, sad home. The 4 and the 2. The 4 and the 2, which is the idea of kind of the interim place, leaving home, coming back home, kind of that. And then finally the 5 and the 3. So this is usually home. The 2 and the 4 are usually kind of that middle point. It's hard to describe, transition, we'll say. And then the 5 and the 3 represent usually the decision to either leave home or come back in. The analogy I always give is my bedroom. My bedroom is the 1, and if I'm happy in my room, it's a major 1. And if I'm sad in my room, it's a minor 6, home. Then if I want to leave my room and go to the bathroom or to the kitchen or something, it's the idea of the 4, the bedroom door, or the 2, the bedroom door, sad bedroom door. Oh no, I don't want to go out there, minor 2. Oh, I'm so excited to leave. I can't wait to be outside. It's kind of nice out, major 4, right? And then finally the 5 and the 3, which is the house door. Do I want to go out of the house? Am I happy about coming back home? Or am I sad about coming back home? The front door. So that's kind of the front door. Yeah. And this is the general narrative we can work with. So when we apply the Roman numerals to the actual chord progression, the main verse, and I'll focus on that, I think, is we have minor 6, major 1, 5, 4. Interesting. And then we have 3, 2. Oh, I like it. I like it. I'll tell you why. Interesting. This is really interesting. What I can tell you, I'm not going to associate with the lyrics yet, but the idea is good songwriting usually pays mind to the utility of the chord in terms of function alongside the lyrics and the chords and how they reinforce one another. But in this case, look at this. What do we want to hear? We want to hear this, don't we? But we don't. We hear the relative minor of that. It's kind of a variation on the deceptive cadence, which is when you play the 5, and instead of playing that, you would play the sadder rendering. The other thing is we're moving scale-wise, we're descending in the scale. Like that. Or instead of playing boom, it's like we're playing the low C sharp. So it could feel sad, but because of the way it's voiced, it's quite bright. Boom. But instead, it's interesting in the way that it repeats. A lot of denial in that. That's why that verse can loop so well. I can't really speak much more than that. I don't have too much more time to talk about the analysis. But what I can say is that the chord progression is exhaustive. It's using every chord in the key, and it's really a flurry of emotion. Bittersweetness, happiness. And I get that feeling. In the morning light, I see you best. In the dark, I still see your head of hair. These sound like counterparts. Also, of course, the juxtaposition of light and dark right there in the first 2 lines. I'll be here as long as you'll still be there seems to be a denouement to that. I recommend considering the idea of storytelling when you are doing the analysis And I hope this tutorial was helpful. If it was, remember to like the video and subscribe. Please write some comments if you want to know anything else, and if you want me to do another tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I will see you at the next one. Ciao for now.